Welcome to Reaching World Podcast, where we highlight the world's largest network of influencers for good, love, and service. Join us in saying thank you to these incredible individuals and organizations by listening, subscribing, and sharing their legacies. And by doing this together, we will help inspire others to leave their legacy of service and love. I'm your host, Zach Garner. Thanks again for tuning in to Reaching World Podcast. We are very, very excited with today's episode. We are speaking with Randy Taran, CEO and founder of Project Happiness, an organization that's been around for 11 years, and its whole purpose and mission is a nonprofit that empowers people to create greater happiness in their lives. Her influence in the organization is in all 50 states, in over 120 countries, and they are literally saving people's life. We were blessed to have her spend a few minutes last week with us here on the podcast to explain a little bit more about the research in positive psychology, neuroscience, and mindfulness that she is spreading, again, in all 50 states and in over 120 countries. The Project Happiness community is over 2.3 million people strong and continues to inspire a kinder and more connected world. Before we jump into the interview, if you want to learn more about Reaching World, we can be found at reachingworld.org or on Facebook at Reaching World Podcast. All right, we're honored to have Randy Taran here on Reaching World Podcast today. Randy, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell our listeners a little background and how you got involved with the organization that you oversee today.
First of all, thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here with you today, and I love what you are up to. So Project Happiness started for me in a very personal way. I had never thought that I would be involved in this type of work, but really just sitting across the kitchen table with my teenager who was not very engaged at that moment, just wondering what was up, and all of a sudden she said, "Mom, I'm stressed out. I want to be happy, but I don't know how." And this was a huge wake-up call for me, I think for all of us, because how can it be that a young person with everything in front of them doesn't know how to be happy? So everything in my being wanted to do something to make it better. And every book, every magazine article that I offered just didn't resonate. So I was thinking, how can we reach out? And not only to my child, but as I spoke with experts, I discovered that this is a national epidemic. This stress and anxiety and depression, it's been on the cover of Time magazine. The World Health Organization now says that depression is the greatest cause of human suffering worldwide, and that's for all ages. And I really wanted to do something. So we started with a film, and that when we brought kids from 3 countries together on a quest to find out the nature of lasting happiness, which is what I wanted to find out, both for my daughter, my family, and also myself. And so we started with the film, and that was the very first piece.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit more about that film.
The film is available on Amazon, and basically we brought all these young people together from different parts of the world, and they had the opportunity to interview George Lucas, Richard Gere, a wonderful neuroscientist named Richard Davidson, who was actually one of Time's 100 people to watch. And then ultimately they met one another in Dharamsala, India, when we had the opportunity to have an audience with the Dalai Lama. So that was kind of like the apex experience. Like they thought, oh, we're going to get all the answers from the Dalai Lama. He knows a thing or two about happiness. But it was so amazing that he surprised all of us. And I don't want to give it away, but put it this way, he threw it back at everyone to find their own happiness. Their happiness that comes from within, not a prescriptive model of happiness, which is something that we totally agree with at Project Happiness. Happiness has to start from within. We all have inner resources, and it's basically relearning how to tap into those and using the work of positive psychology, neuroscience, and mindfulness, which is all available now as it was not when we started the project, but there's been so much progress. It's really very encouraging.
Thank you for sharing that. So Randy, tell our listeners a little bit more about the structure of your organization, Project Happiness, and what you're doing across the globe.
Well, we started with the single-minded goal of reaching youth, reaching kids. And the movie was the first way, but then I had the opportunity to co-write a book called the Project Happiness Handbook, and that has everything that I had wished was available in the school systems at that time. So we did it in a very creative and graphic and colorful way, and basically synthesized a whole slew of quite sophisticated concepts into very accessible language. So that was the second thing. And then thirdly, we were asked, well, we've got the book. Do you have any lesson plans that we can use in our schools? So I worked with a team of, mental health professionals and psychologists, counselors, mindfulness experts, etc. And we put together a curriculum that is now in all 50 states. And I think our latest count was 120 countries. We have people, educators, groups that are using this work to activate the movement within their communities. So that's so fun and so encouraging. And then we decided, well, what about adults? I mean, the material is the same, and no matter what your age, everyone wants to know how to be happier. And Zach, I want to just add that our definition of happiness is not put on rose-colored glasses and go through La La Land. It's actually emotional resilience, learning how to bounce back from life's challenges. And also it has to do with finding meaning in life, finding your passions, your strengths, your purpose, and living fully in your life. So, we wanted to reach out to adults and thought, social media is the best way to do it, of course. And we developed a system, actually, that very brain-friendly system by dividing the days of the week into concepts. So we have Mindful Monday, Gratitude Tuesday, Wednesday Wellness, Thoughtful Thursday, Freedom Friday, letting go of your limiting beliefs, Social Saturday, how we need to connect and ways of coming together, and then Sunday Soul, which is, going within, finding your answers within, to connecting with your inner guidance. And we've been so blessed, I have to say, to have touched a chord, I think, in people. So the following has grown to over 2.3 million on Facebook alone, and we're on Instagram and other platforms. So wonderful to have this, really a privilege of giving people, and we call it their positive vitamin every morning. And
Yeah.
It's so much fun to see the responses. I think it's really touching some lives, and that makes us so excited to be doing the work that we do.
Oh, absolutely. It's phenomenal. On your website, you have the store that has the 7 Doors of Happiness course and
Yes.
all the different books and handbooks and manual programs that people can go and order and get to experience some of the stuff that you're sharing with the world. So if you don't mind sharing a couple success stories of individuals or organizations that applied your concepts and the results that they got from them.
Well, I have something new, very new, hot off the press actually from today. We are so excited to be in partnership with a major electronics company, LG, and what we're doing is bringing Project Happiness to high schools across the country. So there'll be designated happiness high schools, and using our curriculum and also the bite-sized social media messages to reach schools in the years where they need it most. So that's thrilling to begin with. And another thing, we were invited to go to Guyana, which is the country that has the highest per capita suicide rate in the world, actually. And they reached out to us, actually the First Lady, and put together, we've been there twice already, to work with their Ministry of Education and their top educators and NGOs, and just sharing the curriculum, activating, training, the teachers and the administrators, the educators there. So that is so rewarding. It's so wonderful to be able to come in and share, and not in a way, Zach, that says, we know all the answers. It's more coming in. These are some resources that we have found have worked, and we encourage you to make it your own.
That has to be rewarding to just really make an impact like that, literally saving lives.
And it's amazing. It's amazing. And the response that we get as a third thing, just from the messages on social media that people write to us, it's just like, Thank you so much. This is why we do what we do. And we've had, people that have said, I didn't want to go into work again. I couldn't face another day, but this message just gave me, the courage or the motivation to just look at it in a whole new way. And, people with anxiety and so on, which so much of the world is suffering with, they're letting us know that, they were able to change how they look at things and find, more joy, more happiness, more encouragement, more hope. And to us, that's what it's all about, because everyone is able to activate the happiness within. They can be in charge of their own happiness. And that's, at the end of the day, what we want to let people know.
Incredible. And that just has to be fuel for your fire to burn your mission brighter and brighter, right? I mean, to get those kind of results on the lives that you're impacting is just remarkable. You are the exact purpose of this podcast. We like to leave these short messages of 10 to 15 minutes to show the world that it's not all the negativity and hatred and crime that the mainstream media shows, that there is good and there is love and there is service and there's happiness to be found, not only within, but in all organizations all across the globe. And Project Happiness is exactly that. Randy, I really, really appreciate your time today. One last piece of advice you'd want to tell your followers, or if you could have a billboard and every single person in the world could read it, what would you want to tell every single human being?
I would want to encourage people we're all so hard on ourselves. I would encourage everyone to, instead of being a critic in your own mind, be a coach. Treat yourself with tenderness and self-compassion. And the research shows that improves performance, success, focus, all the good stuff. So don't beat yourself up. Treat yourself with kindness. That's the gateway to greater happiness.
I was noticing that these young children that were being interviewed in your videos they understood that basic concept. Instead of criticizing their inner self, they were saying, hey, look, this is an opportunity instead of an obstacle. It's an opportunity, right. Which is funny. The quote right here above my computer screen that I look at every day is, in the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity. And these young children Beautiful. At the young age recognize, instead of criticizing myself, coach myself as an opportunity to grow and learn and better themselves.
Beautifully said. And we have a way of working with kids that they totally get it. And we've boiled down the beautiful work from Dr. Carol Dweck on mindset into these words. And the kids say it to one another. Don't listen to your inner meanie. Listen to your inner friend.
Perfect. In closing, why don't you tell our listeners of the podcast one more time where they can find your organization online, and then what social media platforms they can find you on and how to follow you.
Well, we are at projecthappiness.org, so that's the website, and we encourage everyone to check out the social media, which is at facebook.com/projecthappiness and Instagram as well, projecthappiness_.org. And, we have lots of materials, lots of free materials that we love to share, and newsletters they could get, educators, digests, all sorts of stuff. So just peruse around, and I'm sure they'll find something that could, give a little happiness vitamin for their life too.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. And again, we appreciate your time, and we look forward to following you and to see the growth and impact that you will continue to make all across the globe. Randy, it's been a privilege, and I've been honored to speak with you and have you on the podcast today.
I feel the same way, Zach, and thank you so much for the beautiful work that you are doing. It's together and it's with all of us that we propel positive change.
These episodes will be launched on Mondays and Thursdays. And if you'd like someone to be on the podcast, if you think there's someone in your network that should be recognized for the good they are doing in the world, please reach out to us and send us a direct message. We can be found at Reaching World Podcast on Facebook.com. So be sure to find us there, like our page, and submit any ideas or suggestions of individuals or organizations that should be highlighted on this podcast. Now, to finish today's episode, a couple additional ads from our sponsors.
Are you a business owner that would like to maximize your staff or sales team's production and overall performance? Go to buildyourtraining.com and see how business owners are empowering their teams by digitizing a cloud-based training platform. Again, go to buildyourtraining.com to help unleash your team's overall potential and performance.